Hey, welcome into the Sideline Sports Show alongside DC Hendricks. I'm Brice Vance. Thank you so much for tuning in here on another cold Sunday morning. It sucks. It's so cold. It's even colder than last Sunday when we joined you, and there's still a bunch of snow on the ground. But hopefully that will change. Maybe tomorrow. Are you a big Groundhog's Day, believer, DC? If the groundhog sees a shadow tomorrow, February 2nd, or and then 6 weeks of spring, do you buy into any of that?
No, I live in Indiana. No, it's going to be snowing for the next month and a half.
Yeah, that's
No,
that's true. Because even
sorry.
though we'll get into March and you think you're out of the woods, but then we'll just get this cold snap and then a couple of inches of snow on the ground for absolutely no reason. And it's just the benefits of living in benefits, quote unquote, of living in. Hey, at least we don't have any hurricanes. It's a rarity, at least in our neck of the woods, that we get a tornado. I don't have any wood to knock on here. I'll just knock on the wall behind me. But we don't get any of those catastrophic weather disastrous sort of things. We just get a bunch of snow, or sometimes we get some very windy conditions, but luckily we're out of most of harm's way a lot of the time. So, but other than that, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. A little bit less good. Hoosiers won last night, so
Yeah.
ruined my mood a little bit as I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
I thought I was done talking Hoosiers after the football team
Right.
won the national championship, and apparently the basketball team has decided they want to be good now. So, unfortunately, we have to talk IU today. You're wearing your IU pullover, whatever that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um, it made me even more mad. So, I guess I'm mad. The Broncos lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not very happy this morning. Kind of grumpy,
Okay.
um, just a little.
Just a little grumpy. Okay,
Hmm.
that's fair. It's if it's not me, it's you, because I was
True.
the same way a few weeks ago after the Packers lost. The IU basketball team was trending not in a good direction. They seemed to
It's
turn
true.
things around, and we're gonna talk about that, as well as your Purdue Boilermakers and
Mm,
how they
we have to.
have. I'm not saying it's still, we got 10, 15 games left to go, including the Big Ten tournament before we get to the NCAA tournament. There's still time for the Boilermakers to turn it around, and obviously they have the players and the staff to turn it around. We'll see if they actually do. They have a matchup against Maryland in College Park today that we'll talk about briefly before we bring on Rapheal Davis, Big Ten network analyst, former Southside Archer, and Purdue Boilermaker. So we'll get his perspective because he's been in those locker rooms with Matt Painter, you know, during some not so good seasons. There were a couple of years where Raphael was on the team and they had some struggles, but then they ended up making the NCAA tournament, I believe, his last 2 years in Purdue. So we'll get a good perspective on what I think will, a good perspective on how this team will be able to turn it around. As we do have, Hunter in the chat. Lost 3 in a row last year, and it still turned out to be a pretty good season for Purdue. They ended up making the NCAA tournament. I think they will turn it around, but when you lose in the fashion that you have these last few games, it just doesn't look good, and it can't feel good to lose like this.
Yeah, we got a big show lined up today too. Before we
Yeah.
get started, I know we got a sponsor to read as well.
Hmm.
But very excited. We not only have Rapheal Davis, who's Southside alum, Purdue Boilermaker, both my favorites.
Yeah.
As I'm a Southside alum, I did go to Purdue, but I am Boiler up all day.
Yeah.
So Boilermaker fan. So excited to talk to him as he is doing big things at the Big Ten Network. But we also have an NFL star. If you
Yeah.
if you Google who the best safety is in the NFL, his name comes up. And he
For
just so
sure.
happens to be right here from the 260 in Fort
Yeah.
Wayne, Indiana. Jessie Bates played his football days in high school at Snyder, went on to play at Wake Forest, and is now one of the best safeties in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. We are able to catch up with him today as he is pretty much relaxing. I know he'd rather be playing right now.
Yeah.
Would rather not be interviewing with us probably and rather be getting ready for a football game, get ready for a Super Bowl. But, the Falcons are still a ways away as they are, finding their way as they get a new head coach again. So able to catch up with Jessie Bates today, Fort Wayne athlete royalty,
Yeah.
and someone who's still tapped into our Fort Wayne area and sports as well. So excited for that interview. We got a lot to talk about today. Very excited.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps our show out a lot, gets our show out in front of more eyeballs. Make sure you follow the show on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Just go to Brice and DC and you should be able to find our show. We are also happy to be a part of the Get In Network and Get Indiana, your destination for everything Indiana, from festivals and events, blog posts, spotlighting hidden gems across the Hoosier State. Discover some local businesses or some small towns that you might have known about in our great state. So make sure you get to getindiana.com. You can find our show on there every week. So make sure you get on there and make sure you subscribe to their weekly newsletter as well. So, DC, I want to start off with obviously IU's win over UCLA last night. And the headline at the bottom of the screen says it accurately. They stole one at UCLA yesterday. It was a game that the Hoosiers got off to a bad start, and they were able to rally, take control of the game in the second half, get up by 10 with about a minute 30 left in that game, and then the wheels just fell off. I don't know what it is about this team, and I the big problem is they're missing Tayton Conaway right now, their point guard. But this team, when it gets crunch time, they can't inbound the damn basketball. It's so frustrating that I can't even watch this team inbound the ball sometimes because you're like they're gonna throw it in a bad direction, which I hate throwing an inbounds pass towards the hoop, towards the opposing hoop. Like that's just when I was playing basketball, that was an absolute no. You don't throw it. You throw it either up the court or you find something else that's open. I don't know if that's changed since I've played basketball or have been taught, basketball, but that just feels like
Unfortunately, we're getting at that age, Brice, where a lot has changed
I
since we
know,
played basketball.
but it's like they're throwing it and Reed Bailey or Lamar Wilkerson catch it right next to the basket, and that's like just prime for somebody to come up and steal it and then have an easy basket. Because what do you know? That happened last night. Lamar Wilkerson turns the ball over, and UCLA gets a bucket, and then UCLA hits a game tying shot to send it to overtime. Hoosiers end up prevailing after the game goes into double overtime. The Hoosiers definitely stole one, but DC, that game should not have even gone to overtime in the first place because they were up by 10 with a minute 30, and I'm thinking,
it's over.
Okay, it's over because this is okay. This is it just feels like I was like, yes, I was able to relax just a little bit. This is going to be a good tournament resume win for the Hoosiers on the road, especially coming off the heels of beating Purdue this past week. And you're thinking, okay, maybe there's this team is just a little sluggish coming off the emotional win over Purdue, and they might have been a little bit, but they still were able to pull this one out, even though it probably should have never have been this exciting all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're picking on Wilkerson, but he was one of the big reasons they won.
Yeah,
he was the reason UCLA came back as well. Late turnovers and just bad decisions with the basketball. But Wilkerson was balling last night. But the player that I want to talk about, man, we got to start talking Nick Dorn, bro. This kid is the real deal. What was he? 8 for 18. Hit 6 threes last night. And the thing about IU last night that was a big reason why they won, in my opinion, was free throws. A lot of these college teams struggle at the free throw line, and that is one thing. At least last night, that IU was really good at knocking down their free throws. That's essential in college basketball. There's so many teams, there's so many talented teams, and then you got the teams that are separated from those talented teams by being able to knock down those free throws. Because what IU did last night, that's, in my opinion, that's why they won. They won the free throw battle, and they just look like a better basketball team, which is hard to say as a Purdue fan because Purdue lost to this team. And then IU
at the buzzer,
and then IU beats Purdue and now beats UCLA. So at this point, as a Boilermaker fan, I think I have to admit that IU is a better basketball team right now. I hate to say that because a couple of weeks ago, Purdue was looking like the best team in the country. and a lot has changed
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah, I think, and Nick Dorn has had to step up, like you mentioned, because of the absence of Tate Connerway.
Yeah,
He played a little bit against Purdue, played against Rutgers. I think they're just trying to get him fully healthy after he rolled his ankle against Iowa a couple of weeks ago. He's kind of been in and out of the lineup, but I think they're trying to just probably shut him down. Probably he won't. I doubt he'll play against USC on Tuesday. And they're just trying to get him fully healthy for a potential stretch run of the season to hopefully get into the NCAA tournament. But with Tate Connerway out, it's left a hole that somebody needed to fill. And Nick Dorn has definitely stepped up because he was coming off an injury that happened in the offseason. And he's slowly getting more healthy as the season has gone on. I don't even know if he played in the first handful of games during the season. And to have him injected into this lineup has really sparked this offense when you have Tucker DeVries, who, has some cold nights. Because I don't even think Tucker finished with double digits last night, and he's been one of their
struggled
best
last night.
scorers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's struggled off and on here in the last couple of weeks, but it's been picked up by Nick Dorn, who
he only had 9 last night.
Yeah, but I think he also had like 10 rebounds and like almost 7 or 8 assists or something like that. So
Yeah, he has 7,
he's picking up the slack in other areas when he's not scoring. So it's nice to see somebody come off the bench and step up because Nick Dorn was an elite shooter at Elon, and he's finally translated that, and it's he's shooting well above 40% from the 3-point line, which is crazy. And when you have Tucker DeVries, Lamar Wilkerson, and Nick Dorn, who can all shoot from 3 and get hot. Or if you can have a Connor Enright step up and hit a 3 every once in a while as well, it just makes your offense so much more open. And then you get the aggressiveness out of Reed Bailey, who has finally stepped up here in these last few games as well. He's been playing more aggressive. It just feels like this offense has, some room to breathe, whereas you go back to just last season where it was, just a lot of, I don't know, stuffiness, a lot of lack of movement. There was just not a whole lot of, things that were working well in the Mike Woodson era. And now that you get an offense that has more sharpshooters, a more willingness to rely on the 3, and this team just feels like it's totally different from even just a couple of weeks ago. And it feels like they're, I think I said, turn a corner. It feels like this team has turned a corner, and hopefully, things continue on with this team playing well on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about a team, like you said, like a couple of weeks ago, you were ready to jump off a cliff. You refused to even talk about them. Third straight victory following 4-game losing streak. This Hoosiers team right now is firing on all cylinders, and as we're in February now, February 1st, it's all about what teams are hot at the right time, and March Madness will be right around the corner. So as of right now, if you're a Hoosiers fan, you gotta love the way this basketball team is playing right now. Guys like Nick Dorn stepping up, Wilkerson, guys that are stepping up in big shoes, while DeVries is struggling. At least scoring the basketball. He was 2 for 8 last night. And other guys were able to pick that up. But imagine if all the guys get it going. Imagine if everyone at the same time can figure out a way to all come together cohesively. This Hoosier team is going to be dangerous coming down the stretch in the Big Ten, and not only that, but making the tournament. This has got to be a team to watch. They're learning too. A new coach, new system, a lot of new guys getting in the rotation. So it may have just taken a little bit of time, but you gotta, if you're talking Big Ten hoops right now, and I know we have Rapheal Davis coming up in a little bit, Big Ten network analyst who can help us dive a little bit more deeper into it. If you're talking Big Ten right now, this has got to be one of the top teams in the conference right now. If you're looking at Big Ten basketball, IU's got to be towards the top amongst the most talented teams.
Yeah, I think the record's not going to show it because they're 6-5 in conference with 9 conference games to go. So they're still in like the middle of the pack. But if they get hot and win, a handful more games, they could find themselves in the upper third of the conference, which I didn't think would happen this season. I thought they would be a tournament team going into this season, and that's all I was really hoping for this first season under Darren DeVries, because after missing the tournament the last couple of years under Mike Woodson, you bring in everybody's new, and you're thinking, man, what is this team going to look like? And right now they're playing like a tournament team on both ends of the floor. Defensively, they were able to get after it and compete with the size of a team like UCLA, compete with the team like Purdue, who's got some size on the inside as well. I was just looking it up right now. As you're talking NCAA tournament, Joe Lunardi from ESPN has 11 Big Ten teams in the NCAA tournament right now. It's
Wow.
most out of any conference. And right now, Indiana is the last four, one of the last four teams in. That changed last night after they beat UCLA. And right on that borderline is USC, who IU plays on Tuesday
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock at night, by the way. That game
Yep.
starts at 10. Hopefully you're up to date on your Peacock subscription because
I am.
IU has played.
Thanks to Walmart Plus, I get that for free.
I think the last 5 out of 6 games IU has played have been on Peacock. So,
Yep.
and I think tomorrow or Tuesday's game is the last one of the year on Peacock for IU. So after that, if you want IU fans, you can cancel your subscription to Peacock until football comes around because we know more games are probably going to be on that network. So yeah, UCLA is one of those teams in the tournament. Ohio State as well, and then obviously you have Michigan State, Purdue in there as well. Nebraska, who has been the surprise of the season in the Big Ten, and it's
Crazy.
just been it's been crazy. It's been a wild season in the Big Ten, and I wasn't I wasn't thinking that IU would have a chance to make, I was thinking they're going to be like right where they are. And I was hoping after they beat Rutgers, and then I was thinking, okay, if this team wins, goes above 500 in the rest of the rest of the way in conference play, they should be able to make the tournament. Because I think if you get to about 20 wins on the season, you are above 500 in the Big Ten. You're right on that borderline of making it in, but that gives you a really good chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned Nebraska, which is crazy to even think of how good basketball they've been playing. What are they, 9-1 in the
Yep.
Big Ten? Like, that's crazy. Like, I never
Mm-hmm.
would have thought. But Sanford has got to be, Price Sanford, who's in my opinion one of the best basketball players in the country. Um, in terms of just stepping up for them in big moments. That game against the first game I got to watch of them because they've been hyped a little bit for the past couple of weeks, but I got to watch that game. Unfortunately, it was against Minnesota.
Yeah.
But that was the first game I got to see, and that was the one game where he went off, scored like 22 points in that game, and was one of their leaders. But yeah, Nebraska for me has been one of the most exciting teams in the conference this year. Kind of threw me off because if you look at it, we always expect Michigan to be up there. We expect Illinois, Michigan State, Wisconsin. At this point, Purdue as well, but like Nebraska.
Yeah. It's a
Nebraska.
surprise. It's a surprise, man. It really is because you don't. It's not a traditional basketball powerhouse. It's
Yeah.
always been a football school. So it's definitely a change in scenery for them. And obviously the infusion of talent, like you said, that they've gotten this year just feels like this team is just more cohesive than ever. I think they were. I can't remember if they're a bubble team last year that got snubbed at the very end, or just didn't finish well down the stretch. But I think Coach Hoiberg has done a really good job of building up this program because it's been, quite some time since this team has been good as it has been. So a Big Ten basketball. I think it's very deep. It's very tough. It's always been tough, to win on the road for a lot of teams. And IU proved last night that they can go out there and do it because that's been the one thing for this IU team that has really been a struggle for them. They go on the road and just get absolutely demolished, or on a neutral site game, and they just come out slow and just not being able to, um, compete in these games early on and have to try to rally back as they did against Michigan a couple weeks ago. And it's just been unfortunate to watch. That's why it makes last night such a relief or a sign that this team can do it on the road. Now let's just see if they can do it again on Tuesday night on the West Coast. So, but let's bring on Rapheal Davis, Big Ten
Hey.
analyst, Thank you so much, Rapheal, for joining us here on the show, and former Purdue Boilermaker and Southside Archer
That's right.
joining us here on the show. Rapheal,
All
thank you
day.
so much for joining us. First, I want to ask you about IU as we're continuing the discussion. Do you feel like IU after their win last night has turned a corner?
Yeah, I think IU. I think they turned the corner when they got up 16 in that first half against Nebraska.
Hmm.
I think that showed them that they can compete if they play the right way. That shows them that you guard, you play hard, you move the ball offensively, you're gonna have a chance. And I don't know if you guys remember in that game, it was a close game until Tucker DeVries goes out with that foul trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that changed the complexion of the game. Nebraska goes on a run. So that showed you if they just put it together. But that's been Indiana's thing all season. To me, it's been you go back to what was that non-conference game they played in Assembly Hall. They up by 30, 20, 30 at halftime, and then team makes a run in the second half and makes it a game. Indiana's thing has been not playing two halves. So I
yeah,
think now they're starting to be able to put together two halves of basketball, and being able to go out and beat Purdue, that was big time, and then following it up with the win on the road that you almost gave away. I thought it was big. I thought it like evening them up in conference, getting them to 5-5. Now they have a real shot to get to the tournament. But then also a big thing about Indiana up to this point, it was kind of feast or famine for Lamar Wilkerson. Lamar play well, you have a chance. And we
yeah,
were all kind of wondering, we may still be wondering, like, is Tucker really that guy in a sense? So who
yeah,
else could be of help? And when Tayton goes down, you don't know, but Lamar and Tucker, I think, go 10 for 30 last night. You think you lose that game, you go on the road, but
yeah.
but Reed Bailey and
Hmm.
Nick Dorn, I think they
Yeah,
combined for what, 650, 55?
yeah,
So when you got other guys that can step up, and now they're starting to see that, Nick Dorn's been playing really, really good. So now I think they really have a chance to get to the tournament.
yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, it was at the expense of our Purdue Boilermakers. I wanted to get your thoughts on that game too. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, what's your scale on the panic meter for Purdue Boilermakers?
I mean, it's not that crazy for me.
yeah,
As far as wins or losses, I'm not really messed up by the loss. My thing is how they lost.
yeah,
And you just don't expect a team with three seniors that's one almost probably over 100 games together. And then you add in Oscar Clough, another fifth-year guy. You get a real pro. Like Omar's not a normal freshman. Omar's a pro. He's been in tough environments. So like you get this team and then they get punked. I didn't expect that. If you'd have told me Indiana knocked down a lot of threes, Tucker went crazy, Lamar went crazy, I get it. But like
right.
to go out on the road and get punked after losing two in a row, shocking. So like
Yeah,
my panic meter on the leadership, the lack of there, I would say is really high. Like they have it, you could see it in the Indiana game. It was the first time that I've seen this group start to drop their heads, start to look soft in the face. You see that look in some dudes' eyes like they don't want it. So I thought that was crazy. I thought Indiana was tougher. Like Indiana didn't do anything like or they just punked them.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was crazy. So I look at Purdue and I just see something that they got to get back to playing hard. And I think they've run into some things roster construction wise that I think has hurt them. I think a couple things. TKR may just be a five in a four-man's body. Like we see it all the
yeah,
time with guards. We always see that point guard that shoots too much, but it's really a shooting guard, just small.
Yep.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So like
Yep.
Right.
that's who TK is, and I think him and Oscar they hadn't been able to play well offensively together and kind of coexist in games like the Indiana game or games like that UCLA game. When it's close, you need 20 from TKR, and he
Hmm.
couldn't get 20 with Oscar. So
Yeah,
now they went small, put TK at the five, played Jack a little bit more. I think you may see that a little bit. I think maybe Daniel Jacobson, his minutes takes a turn, but it's that. But then for me, like I go back to it, offense is what it is. Like it is what it is. But at Purdue, it's always about
yeah,
defense. This team, they just didn't guard. It sucks to watch a team just struggle to continue to guard. So and then all the fans thought Daniel would change things, but it's no rim protection for blow bys. or lack of closeout. So
Yeah.
I'm more worried about their leadership in the locker room more so than the loss to Indiana, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've been in a Purdue locker room, with Matt Painter. What is he saying to that team? What's he saying to that leadership to try and help, turn things around? You've heard probably what he's been saying. What's he saying?
Listen to that press conference after the Indiana game.
Yeah.
You hadn't seen paint like that in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, so I know what that locker room situation looked like after the game.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's any paint on the wall still. So and two,
Yeah.
I'm close to the program, but I'm not there every day. I don't
Right.
think he's had to do that to these guys.
Yeah.
And in that real of a moment, like it's those guys that have kind of been just kind of sailing through. They've been on the up and up, and those guys those guys never been benched for not playing defense because they couldn't be benched for not playing defense. And I think Paint's at that point. And that's a great point for Paint to be at. Because I love Paint. He's like an uncle to me. Like his sister's like a big sister, big auntie to me or whatever you want to call it. But at some point, he got soft to those dudes. And winning can do that to you. So I think this week was a coming to Jesus moment in that locker room, and you hear Braden Smith talk about they had a team meeting and all that good stuff. I had a team meeting with my former teammate PJ Thompson. We talked for like an hour and a half. I talked to Coach Brantley. Those dudes are trying to figure it out. But I think coaches can't guard people. Like I try to tell PJ, those dudes got to guard. Like me, when PJ Thompson was a freshman and I was a junior, we all had iPads. I would make the team watch film individually on their iPads, and I would check to see if they watched. I was a bad leader sometimes, but it's that important because if you are slow-footed, like Dakota Mathias was slow, unathletic, didn't move well, but he watched the film, he understood the angles, and if I'm out of position, but I hear the player, this is what we used to be good at. We would know the play calls, or we would know the signals, or we would know the setups. Even in walkthrough, you should know the setups to where if my guy goes here, he's normally going to do this.
Yeah.
How are you messing that up as a senior? Because those sophomores and those freshmen, Jakari, CJ, they're playing hard. They're trying. Jack's trying. So, like, those younger guys are carrying their weight. It's those older guys. They got to be better on both ends. So, I'm curious to see how they play against Maryland. Stats out the window. I just want to see them play hard. I think this week they were challenged to play hard in practice. I think defensively it's going to be big, but I'm more so getting Purdue back to Purdue and not this new school pretty shit.
Got you. Yeah. Unfortunately, as we started the show, as my co-host is an IU fan, he has his IU pullover on, so I got to deal with this on every once in a while basis. But you being a player that played against IU and I believe has a winning record against IU, what are some of your best memories in a Purdue versus IU matchup?
Oh man, it's nothing like winning at Assembly Hall. Like it was. I can still remember the moment. It's like a couple minutes left. I think we're up by one. Penn calls a timeout. He draws up a play, sideline out of bounds. Get me to my right hand. Boom, bucket. And like the crowd goes quiet. And then in the very next play, like the very next time we going down, I think it's like 6 something, 2-point game. I get Robert Johnson on the drive, straight line drive right hand, bucket, game over. And like stuff like that, that's big time. I mean, John Nocte is baptizing the masses, and then the very next play, see, John Nocte is stole us. So like it should be a 2-play remembrance.
Yeah.
John Nocte goes to dunk on Colin Hartman. The very next play, I get a steal, but my leg kind of like drops out. I should have dunked it, but I laid it up. But that 4-0 run, they always just take out my part and give John the credit. But but no, that moment I remember at IU. At IU, that was the game, and that also that's the same game I got at the end. So actually, that's the same game. But I remember at that timeout, after I got that layup, Coach Payne said, he said stop. He said like we're thinking he gonna drop something. He thinking ooh. He said wait, stop, listen. He said listen to that shit, listen. And we was like, what is he talking about? And then next you know, it clicked. And just the arena was silent.
Mm-hmm.
And like we could hear each other. It was quiet. We were loud. It was like, that was fire. That was a crazy moment because you got 17,000 on top of you that was all talking before the game. It was loud in here. The last time we were in that arena, we got beat by 40 by Cody Zeller and those guys. So like that was and we were both good that year. Like that was James Blackman, Yogi, and those dudes. So like that was fun. And then my next favorite moment, I know I'm being long-winded, but at Mackey, we were playing, and we were another close game. Might have been that same year. Yeah, because we swept them. It's that same year, and my brother's in the crowd. My brother's an Indiana alum, and he's in the crowd, and I'm having a good game. And like, he's an Indiana guy. Like it don't matter. Like it's Indiana. He might have bet on the game. So like, I see him in the crowd. I got Colin Hartman. I dribble him up, and I shoot a 3, and I hit it. And then I look at him, and then I just start jumping up and down because I knew we won. So like that was a cool one too. But that rivalry is always cool. That sophomore year we both sucked. We finished last place. They didn't make the tournament. Like, and we beat them at Purdue. The crowd act like we won the Big Ten championship. So like that rivalry is always fun. When I first came into Purdue, I had never played against Indiana, but this is my first day on campus. My freshman year, my first day on campus. Coach Paint ends the workout. We like, all right, we get to go home. He said, no, line that shit up. Line it up. We say, all right, we got a sprint, maybe 2 sprints. This man says double suicide in a minute and 2 seconds because we don't lose to Indiana. I look at Jay Simpson. I look at him. I said, we wasn't even here. And then we lined it up and we ran double suicides. Dude didn't make it. We had to do another one because we don't lose Indiana. So like it's a serious rivalry. I love how Pate takes it serious, and it's good to see it get back going again.
Oh, for sure, man. Great stories there. Because I mean, I think the crowd, and I think both coaches, spoke to it in post game. The crowd makes all the difference late in that game, and Assembly was definitely obviously rocking towards the end of that game, and that's I think probably made a huge difference. Just kind of overall general Big Ten picture here before we let you go. How many teams? Because looking at projection right now, according to ESPN, 11 teams can make the NCAA tournament. Raphael, you still there? Kind of cut out. Okay, you're good.
My bad. I got you.
No, you're good. Just overall, Big Ten, according to ESPN right now, 11 teams, or according to bracketology, are in the tournament. But I want to know how many of those teams do you believe can actually, make a deep run, can make a Final Four run? Obviously, there's probably just a handful, but who are those teams in your mind that can make a deep run into the Final Four?
I think it's 4.5. I think Michigan can win it all. I think Michigan. I mean, we give a lot of credit to Nebraska for how they played. We give a lot of credit for Michigan State to how they came back.
Yep.
Michigan, but it's like we didn't get no credit to Michigan for having 2 top 10 wins.
Like, it's true.
You know what I mean?
It's like we just expect them to.
Yeah. So, and then they didn't shoot it well in either game.
Yeah.
Like they didn't play well, and they still were able to go out there and win. So Michigan's ability to beat you in different ways, and then their ability to just look about this. Nebraska didn't score in the final 3.5 minutes. Michigan State finished the game. Jeremy Fears got a layup at the last second, so I'm not counting that. But Michigan State finished the game 1 for 10. Yep. Their ability to just lock you up with that size, that's their superpower. Some teams beat you with their offense. Michigan's ability to put 5 guys out there that could just suffocate you. And then when you shoot it, you look at Michigan State, one of the better offensive rebounds team in the country. Only has 6 second chance points. They're just too big. So Michigan has that size, athleticism, with the talent. They got a bunch of pros over there that's going to play a long time. So I think they can win it all. I think the way Nebraska plays and their cohesion and their togetherness and the way they scheme on the defensive end, they can win it all because you're going to have to – Illinois is a team that could beat Nebraska. Illinois will shoot a bunch of threes, but you're going to have to make a bunch of threes to beat Nebraska. So then and then they got guys like Bryce Sanford. He's not getting the credit for what he's doing right now, but And I heard Nick Scousis saying on the broadcast that he reminded him of him, and people gave him crap for it, but he does. He's a similar
Yeah.
player, and the
Yeah.
numbers are almost identical, and he's a bucket. So last 5 games, he's averaging 23.
Mhm.
So I mean, they got some dudes on that team. Braden Frager's gonna be a pro. Rick Maskins, they invert their offense, so it's really cool to see that. I think Illinois has a chance. Keen Wagler in March, it's all about pros and guard play.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
King Wagler's a lottery pick. And he might be the best point guard, well, playing like the best point guard in the conference.
Yeah.
So, and then you just need those other guys just to make shots. And then Andre is a guy that, given the right matchup, he can go win you a game. So I think Illinois has a unique chance to get to a Final Four. I put Michigan State in there just because they'll will themselves there. This reminds me of
Yeah.
that 2015 team that
Mhm.
didn't really have a star. I don't think that 2015 team had a first team guy. Maybe Brandon Dawson, maybe, but like
Yeah.
he wasn't a star in a sense. So
Nah.
Right.
I look at this team as just like one of those tough teams that'll punk people. Like you look at
Mhm.
those first 5 minutes of that second half, they punked Michigan. Like it almost was like Tom Izzo went in there and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat y'all up if y'all don't play hard." And they play hard.
It worked.
So I
Yeah.
look at Michigan State in that realm because Jeremy Fears again in March you need guard play. And 2 games in the you look at that Rutgers game, no way they should have won that game. He just
Mhm.
willed them back into the game, won the game for him. So you need a guard that can do that. And so I put them in, and then their ability to defend and rebound as well. That helps you in transition. So I put them in that mix, and then I put Purdue in that mix as my 0.5 because I want to see Purdue's play hard meter because that's the thing that those 4 teams have. They
Mhm.
just play hard. And I
Yeah.
think you look at Purdue, when it's pretty, they're fine. When the shots are going in, it's good. It's flowing. Offense is great. But like you've got Coach Payne used to always tell us, the great teams, the championship teams, they win the games when the shots don't go in. You got to be able to win the games in the 50s and the 60s, the grinded out joints. You got to be able to get stops at the end of a game. And it's shocking. It's almost disappointing that Purdue, being as veteran as they are, they're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
So I,
Mhm.
I put them in that mix because it's almost the game I'm looking forward to, honestly, is Purdue Wisconsin. Because Wisconsin, with their guard play, having 2 guards that can really hoop, they could make a run.
Mhm.
So I'll probably go those 4 or 5. Maybe Wisconsin get to like Elite Eight or Sweet 16, Elite Eight, and then I think that middle. I hope that middle doesn't cannibalize each other because you
Yeah.
got Iowa, Ohio State,
Mhm.
USC, UCLA, and now even Washington and Indiana, where they can eat each other a little bit and hurt each other, if that makes sense. If someone doesn't
Yeah.
really rise to the crop and they just start beating each other, that could hurt. So I think
Mhm.
that group will be interesting to see who pans out. But I think you look at a team like Washington, all that talent they have, and if they can figure it out, they'll be good. Indiana, they could win some games in the tournament. So I think the middle, they're starting to kind of figure it out. But I think those top 5, 6 teams are pretty have really separated themselves.
Mhm.
That's a good deal. Before we let you go, though, I definitely want to let you promote something that you do every Saturday called Crew Life Saturdays. Go
Yeah.
ahead and promote what you do every Saturday called Crew Life Saturdays.
No, I appreciate it. No, that's big time. Yeah, Crew Life Saturdays is it's a big deal to me. Like I'll tell you, Friday night I worked in studio. I got off at midnight. I drove 4 hours to the snow to get to Crew Life Saturdays, and then was there. Went right back to studio last night because it means that
Mhm.
much. Every Saturday we have about 120 kids that come and hang out with the crew, and the crew is our nonprofit organization. It stands for Community Responsibility, Education, and Will. And we're at the gym we grew up playing at, the Fort YMCA, right in the worst neighborhood of the city, right in the where people say you shouldn't maybe go after dark, and it's great. We have a basketball league going right now. Every Saturday we're got kindergartens to 8th graders. It's all free. They get to play and hoop and all that stuff. After basketball, we do flag football on Saturdays. After flag football, we're going into soccer. So it's been a lot of fun. And then our kids because we have a bunch of camps and youth events and college trips, we just took 120 kids to Purdue last fall. But other than that, the kids that graduate out of the program after the 8th grade, they get to come back and work it. So we have our young kids there, and then we have our high school interns working and coaching camp. So that's our and we always get chicken. But that's our Crew Life Saturdays. We hang out with the kids every single Saturday in our neighborhood, and throughout the week we have student study hall and stuff like that. But our Saturdays are a pretty big deal to us. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, no problem for sure. That's Rapheal Davis, Big Ten Network analyst, former Southside Archer, former Purdue Boilermaker. Thank you so much for joining the show here, Rapheal.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. Shout out Fort Wayne.
Let's go.
Heck yeah.
Love it.
That's right. Thank you, Rapheal, for joining us. Man, great stories. I knew we'd get some good stories once we, brought up, what's it like to be in that locker room and what's it, like to get, play against Indiana. Because, like you said, he's got a winning record against the Hoosiers, and he's got a lot of good stories, and he's a good storyteller for sure. So,
yeah, he's so he mentioned his brother is an IU alum. So I was a senior when he was a freshman at Southside.
Okay.
But his brother was older. He was 1 year older than me. So he was class of 08. So I knew his older brother way more than him because I was around him more. But yeah, his knowing his older brother, man, I'm sure him Rapheal going to Purdue was great. Great fuel for his older brother because his older brother was a handful. So just to say the least. So yeah, that's funny stuff that his brother went to IU and he went to Purdue. I love that. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. I'm glad he stays connected too. That's why I wanted him to mention Crew Life Saturdays because I wanted to point that out. So Big Ten Studios, if no one knows, is in Chicago, Illinois.
Right.
He drives every Friday night, Saturday, to come back to Fort Wayne every weekend to host this basketball event for the kids here in the 260. So, because he lives, I believe he lives in Chicago. So he comes back home every weekend to do his Crew Life Saturday event for the kids. So I wanted to point that out, man. He's still doing great things for the community and gives back in ways that, more people can. And I know we got a guest coming up in a little bit that is looking to do the same.
Yeah, for sure. We got Jessie Bates coming up at noon. We have a great interview with him where he promotes something going on in the 260. Hopefully coming up this summer. Maybe not just one camp, but hopefully two camps if he can swing it. So make sure you stay tuned for that interview coming up with Jessie Bates at noon. Catching up with former Southside Panther, former Wake Forest Demon Deacon, and current safety for the Atlanta Falcons. Before we get to Jessie, though, kind of NFL related, DC. We had some Hall of Fame votes come out this week, and Bill Belichick did not make it. But the owner of his team, former team, I should say, Robert Kraft, did. So a lot of people were like very upset because obviously there's been this back and forth between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick going back to when they were still in the same organization. When Bill was still a coach, like who gets the credit? Is it Tom? Is it Bill? Robert Kraft obviously sided with Tom Brady on that. And they even had like was it 10 or was it like six, a long documentary that came out about the Patriots dynasty run, and Robert Kraft portrayed Bill to not have as much credit. They didn't really give Bill his due in that documentary, and I think they didn't give him his due. Then he comes out that he was snubbed from the Hall of Fame, and there was 5 guys in his category that were non-players that were up for it. Like 2 or 3 guys I had never even heard of. And then you had Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft in that group, and then Robert Kraft gets in, Bill Belichick does not. And it's just very surprising because this dude has won 8 total Super Bowls, 2 as a defensive coordinator, and then 6 with the Patriots. And then, nope, not good enough apparently on the first time. He feels like he should be a first-time Hall of Famer, first-time ballot Hall of Famer.
Is this one of those asterisks like Barry Bonds because of Deflategate?
Well, there's Deflategate, there's Spygate.
There's Spygate? I mean,
I think there's some speculation that is part of it. There's some speculation that there wasn't that many votes to go around because they were trying to get some other guys who might be off the ballot next year to get in. But if there's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, it's freaking Bill Belichick, don't you think? I mean, I know a lot of people around here in Indiana don't like Bill Belichick just because they beat the Colts so many times in the playoffs. But it's like that's the epitome. That's like the number one example outside of freaking Tom Brady. Like,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
Tom Brady is 1, Bill Belichick's 2.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
come on.
I think at the end of the day, though, you got to make those comparisons. I mean, he's won 8 Super Bowls. I think that should outweigh, at least you would think. But you also have, again, like I hate to compare, but I mean, Barry Bonds hit almost 800 home runs, bro. Like,
I know.
he hit almost 800 home runs.
I know. I don't know how much the cheating is a part of it. There's a whole bunch of stories coming out.
Billion hits.
I know, man.
In sports, unfortunately, those asterisks outweigh the production. You got Spygate, you got Deflategate, and in addition to that, I think he was exposed a little bit after Brady left. Brady goes to one of the worst teams in the NFL, wins the Super Bowl in the first year. And Patriots didn't even make the playoffs.
No, I know. He's been criticized for not being a very good GM. Like his draft record, not super great. Obviously not winning after Tom Brady leaves. And then I don't even know how much of the fiasco at North Carolina plays into it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't want to get too deep into the girlfriend thing of having a younger girlfriend, but like, I don't know. I shouldn't play into it in my opinion, but it just feels like he's been out in the media too much talking about that sort of thing, or the situation, because didn't he interview for the Falcons job? Was it 2 years ago or last year? And didn't get the job. And so it was like, after that, you're thinking, okay, there's like some fishy stuff going on behind the scenes, and I think it's partly probably due to Robert Kraft and his meddling with telling the other owners to either not hire him or don't if you have a vote for the Hall of Fame, don't vote for him on the first time he's on the ballot. So maybe Robert Kraft just didn't want to go in at the same time as Bill Belichick.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, as a coach, he has 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach. I don't know what else you got to do as a head coach. On your resume, I don't know what else you need to do not to be a Hall of Famer.
I don't either. That's
interesting. Like, when you told me that before we started the show, like I was like, we have to at least mention that. That's crazy. That's like historically crazy.
Yeah.
And as you started talking about it, I just had to think to myself, it's got to be the asterisks. It's got to be Spygate and Deflategate. It's got to be. That's got to be the reason he's being overlooked. There's no other. But of course, hey, the comment section is open. We talked a little bit of IU earlier. IU hoops, as apparently the basketball teams decided to win now as well, in addition to the football team. Brice is no longer on the edge of that cliff as an IU fan. Let me get this off of here so you guys can see his little.
We're back.
All right. Pump the brakes.
We're not.
Yeah, whoa.
No, that was a little premature. We're not back. Hey, but we've turned a corner. I'd say we turned a corner. That's a better way to phrase it. And you win these last 3 games in a row with missing your starting point guard. So that's I'm interested to see when he comes back into the lineup what this team looks like, if they continue on this trajectory or they kind of struggle a little bit to kind of get acclimated. I don't think they'll struggle that much, but yeah. And we also talked about Purdue. We talked a lot about that with Rapheal.
Rapheal Davis.
And we didn't have enough time, but I wanted to talk about and I saw somebody bring this up. Should Braden Smith take over more? Because it feels like in like end of game situations, he hits some big shots. He hit a big shot against Illinois to kind of keep that game within reach last week. And it just feels like they're not really going to him in those big moments. It feels like that they're trying, and I don't think he's a score first type of guard. He's much more of, let's try to make the right basketball play here and pass and see if we can. But it feels like he should try to take over late in games when this team really needs him, because the other options right now are just not falling. Fletcher Lawyer is really struggling right now.
Yeah.
Clough isn't even in the game at certain points because he's a defensive liability. Trey Kaufman-Renn has struggled. And it just feels like Braden Smith should be the guy to take over. I wanted to ask Rapheal on that, but we didn't have enough time with him.
I think that's a lot of what Rapheal was talking about when he was saying he definitely, because we asked that question earlier if it was time to panic for Purdue fans. And he said not in terms of the losses necessarily, what was Rapheal's thoughts, but he is panicking a little bit on the senior leadership and the leaders on this team, the guys that are expected to be the leaders, the ball players, the guys that they go to in late moments of the game. Braden Smith is that guy. You look at this roster, he is supposed to be the guy. He is the star of the team. So, yes, I would agree. I think he needs to step up more in those moments. He needs to be taking more shots. He needs to be more aggressive. I think that'll help, the rest of the Purdue Boilermakers. He's the leader. So once he steps up and takes a little bit, more responsibility for his role, I think the other guys will be able to, kind of feed off his energy and feed off of his ability. So yeah, I would say so that Braden Smith needs to step up.
Yeah, because this team, and if they lose to Maryland today,
don't get me started.
That might 1 o'clock on CBS.
I'm gonna be watching it on my phone because I won't be at home. I'll be over at OPS. So I have to watch it on my phone, but I'm gonna be watching it. I'm gonna have my eyes on it. Because
when you watch games, are you vocal? Are you saying things like "come on" or pounding your fist? Or
okay, first of all, you've watched how many games with me? You know damn well I'm yelling at that TV.
I know you are.
Especially last weekend with my Broncos. I was ready to crash out. I did crash out.
We should have had just a camera on you, like a live feed of you.
I've thought about doing those. Not only just sports, but like with my wrestling stuff too. I've thought about doing that kind of stuff, but I just get too angry, dude.
I know. I
might end up breaking my camera or something, or end up doing something on camera that's going to get me on the national news or something.
Yeah,
I get upset.
We should do some watch-alongs. Obviously, there's nothing going on right now that would warrant it. Maybe once the basketball tournament gets going, maybe if Purdue makes a deep run or something like that could be a time. But if for example, if the Broncos would have made the Super Bowl, then that would have been a good time to do a watch-along just to. But then that's begs the question: do you want people to see what you look like watching a Broncos game?
I don't know if I do.
Yeah, see, that's
I get pretty upset over the stupidest things. It's different. It's different when it's your team, bro.
I know. I was watching the IU game last night, and I was like, thank gosh, it's just me at home right now, because I'm standing, I'm pacing back and forth behind my couch, I'm yelling at the TV, I'm yelling at the refs, even though this game is being played 3,000 miles away. I am I'm in it. I feel like I'm there. And it just feels like and it wasn't like that early on in the season. It feels like now that I feel like this team actually can be good and, maybe potentially make the tournament. Now I'm more in it, all right, let's go. But, and those are when the stakes get higher, that's when my emotions kind of come out. When, especially when Notre Dame made that playoff run last year, I was my heart was, I could feel it in my chest. It was pumping. It was I am on edge. I'm and it's crazy. And I can only imagine how you were feeling last week. Especially I was messaging you during the game, how are you feeling? And
I didn't even answer you.
I know. I tried to, give you some hope, because I think after they got the ball back and they had a chance to go down and make one of the many field goals that they should have made. And that game was just atrocious on the field. It was fun to watch on seeing all the snow. I like a snow game. I'm not so sure you're in favor of them right now, but
no, not at all.
But at least visually, I thought the game looked good, except for the play on the field. That was brutal to watch. So
yeah. My non-response to you during that tells you everything how I was during that game.
No, I know. I knew you were upset. I got the one message back, and then nothing else after
new
that.
Poll question. New poll question.
Do the I'll answer that question. Yeah, right. Because you didn't have a starting quarterback in that game, and it was nice of Trey Essex to try and like cheer you up a little bit going into that game.
He did make me feel a little bit better, but it was false hope. He had me thinking Stidham was about to go out there, and then Stidham threw the touchdown pass. In the first quarter, I'm like, let's go. And then he completed like 3 passes the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. I'm a Purdue Boilermaker basketball fan, so I don't have much to cheer for there right now, as this team has forgotten how to play basketball. Okay? I'm a Purdue football fan. ...
Yeah. ...
That's all that needs to be said there. It's rough right now, okay? It is rough.
I get it.
And you're wearing your little IU pullover, looking all happy, smiling over there for no reason.
Yeah.
Like you're just on top of the world. You win the football championship. Basketball teams deciding to win games. I'm not happy right now. I'm glad you are, though. I'm glad somebody on this show has something to cheer for.
Listen, I wouldn't have been happy if they lost last night the way that game played out. We would have been 2 grumpy people today. You might have been happy that I lost.
I was going to say I would have been happy.
But that game last night at UCLA should have never even gone to double overtime.
No,
shouldn't have even gone to overtime. It should have been.
In fact, I had turned the channel. I turned the channel when it was like the minute or so left and they're up 10. I'm like, all right, well, this is over. And then, like, you know how you kind of keep peeking at the score, keep refreshing Google, checking the score, refreshing the ESPN app. And then I see UCLA creeping closer. And I'm like, let's switch it back. Then that was a great game, though, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love those games, and gotta love that they were still able to pull it out. Because, man, if they lose that game, our conversation would be a whole lot different today.
Oh, for sure. And I like what you just brought up there, because whenever my team like gets down like plus 15 or more points, I'm always all right. Let's find something else to watch, because I'm not going to right now. But let me flip open the ESPN app just to like. All right. Now we're there within 10.
Yeah, keep checking it.
A couple minutes go by. Okay, they're back within like 7 now. Should I flip on? No, because like the juju right now is like I'm not watching the game, so they're coming back. And like, when should I tune back into this game?
Yeah.
But then like ultimately, it go back from a 7-point game to a 15-point game, because that's just how these things work out. And because that's how it was like when IU played Michigan a couple weeks ago. I was had the game on in the background, and I wasn't really paying attention because IU was down by like 12 points like right off the bat. So I was like, just let me have this game on in the background. Let me clean up the house or something, because I'm not wanting to watch this game because IU's playing like crap. So then I turned the game off, and then I check back in. They're only down by like a dozen right now after being down by 20. And I'm like, maybe they get back in this game. No, but then they end up losing by 12 anyways. But all right.
Yeah, I did that. So full disclosure, I did that on the AFC Championship for my Broncos too.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's why I didn't answer you when you texted me. I know you were just trying to make me feel better, but it was like, bro, it was over. First, and not even if that wasn't my team. Let's say I'm not a Broncos fan.
Right.
Is it just me, or was that the worst conference championship game ever? And don't give me that 1950s, 60s defense wins championship crap. Okay? It's 2026.
Yeah.
I want to see some points.
No,
I want to see somebody in the end zone. And it's not even, and if you watch the game, it wasn't even defense. It was just bad quarterback. Like Stidham was underthrowing everybody after that first touchdown he threw. Drake May didn't look good either.
No.
And everybody's like, well, it was the pressure. It wasn't just the pressure. They were making terrible throws even when they weren't pressured. The running backs saved that game for both teams. The running backs are why the offense was moving the ball at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just – so I turned the channel.
Yeah.
And just kept refreshing to see, yep, I see the Broncos still can't get a first down. All right, I'm just going to leave it off. And I did that for IU last night for different reasons, though. I thought the game was over, but apparently they decided to let UCLA back in the game. But I know we didn't talk a lot of NFL today because, the Super Bowl's next Sunday.
Right.
So we will have a lot more. We got to have a big guest, too. We always have a nice little Super Bowl party. So this time next week, make sure y'all join us because we always have a great Super Bowl show lined up for you guys. If you guys may have not have listened to our show we were on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM in Fort Wayne for years. We always do a special Super Bowl show. So I hope we get our usual guest. Brice knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
He'll
about.
be a good guest, I think.
Yeah,
so I'm
for
going to
sure.
try to get him for next week. But as we switch gears to the NFL, I know we got a big guest coming up in moments as well as we hit that 12 o'clock hour.
Yeah, for sure. So we will talk a little NFL here, not specific, to the Super Bowl or the playoffs or anything like that. More specific to a guy from the 260 and some great stories that came out of this guy. We've had some great stories that came out of Rapheal, who's a former Southside Archer. And coming up next, we have Jessie Bates, former Snyder Panther, and he has some great stories and some great insight on what his 2025 season with the Atlanta Falcons.
We'll be right back.
Welcome on former Snyder Panther, Wake Forest Demon Deacon, and current Atlanta Falcons safety Jessie Bates. He's very familiar, obviously, with the 260, and we're glad to have him on. Jessie, thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, this season probably didn't end the way you wanted it to. But when you reflect on this past season, you guys finished pretty strong, winning your final 4 games. Take us through the 2025 season and how you thought it shook out.
Yeah, not expected, not to make the playoffs. For my 3rd year being there, coming from Cincinnati, we struggled earlier in my career. And then, we got it rolling and, back to back, appearances to the AFC Championship. And then going to not playing in the playoffs it's definitely not a good feeling, but it was good, just to experience that again, going into year, 9 now, thinking about it, it's just, every single year you learn something new. You just appreciate it, appreciate the guys, you spend so much time away from your family and, away from loved ones, and you expect to win, but at the end of the day, you build relationships and you learn from each year and you just try to keep on building from it. So
I wanted to talk about you. Going into this season, you got a lot of accolades. People are talking about you nationally. I think you're even. I'm a big Madden player. I think you're even rated the highest safety in Madden too. Like,
yeah.
Coming from the 260, playing, putting on that black and gold on Friday nights to being recognized one of the top safeties in the NFL. What was your first reaction to getting that kind of recognition going into this year?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, going into, year 9 and, building up, each year. And, Madden doesn't really guarantee that you're going to have a great season just because they, give you a great Madden rating. But it's cool, when my nephews play Madden and family members play Madden, people from Fort Wayne play Madden. When I play, I represent, more than just, myself and the name across the front and the back. I'm playing for, kids that are, watching me, having dreams of being whatever, doctors, professional basketball players, football players, whatever it is. And them seeing that on Madden, a guy from Fort Wayne, Indiana, representing. So it's a great honor, just something to hang your hat on. And, at some point I'll be able to tell my kid, hey, plug in, 2026 Madden, and hey, your pops was the number 1, safety. So it's pretty cool for sure.
That's right, man. And I wanted to say this too, as AI is getting bigger than ever too. Just saying, when you Google who the best safeties in the NFL is, Jessie Bates comes up in there too. So it ain't just Madden, it ain't just video games.
Yeah,
it's the real deal.
For sure, man.
In your first answer, you said that you're continually learning each and every year. What's something from this past year that you learned, and or what you hope to continue to learn on as your career progresses?
Yeah, I mean, you never want to see people get fired in our profession. I've had 3 different defensive coordinators in my time in Atlanta, and it sucks to, like I said, when that stuff happens, but at the end of the day, it's to help you learn and become a better person, better player. It's part of the journey, and you just I look at it as I've learned three different schemes of defense, and over my 8 years now, I've been in a lot of different schemes, and maybe one day I'll be an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I got a lot of tricks in the bag for sure of knowing different perspectives and different philosophies of these defensive coordinators who are now becoming head coaches and general managers. You never know. It's just stuff that I've started to think about getting later on in my career, and yeah, bro, it's crazy to see. But it's part of, like I said, it's part of the journey, and you just continue to learn.
Is that something I was going to ask that too? Because you being in all these schemes, is that something you're realistically looking at? I know you're still young, man. You're like 28. So like you still, I mean, the NFL years though, that's getting up there, but like in the grand scheme of things, you have learned all these different things as a professional football player. After football, is that something you are actually looking at doing, possibly being like a coordinator or something like that?
Yeah, you never know what the journey brings. I want to play about 5 more years at a high level, and then, hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to walk off on my terms if I wanted to continue to play. Or at that point, my son would be about 6, 7 years old, um, and you just never know. About that time, he'll be able to remember that. Growing up, and he'll be into sports. So you just never know with that, at that point of my life. But yeah, at this point, I'm like, yeah, I think I understand how this, business works. I've been on the good side of it. I've been on the bad side of it. I've seen a lot over my 8 years being in it. And yeah, at some point, it's just like uh, you see all these former players starting to get, defensive coordinator jobs. Like
Yeah.
3 years out of them not playing in the league, So I know what it takes. I can relate with these, especially with these young cats coming in now. I can relate with them. So I think it'll be an easy plug and play, but just trying to get on the business side too, for real. Just trying to understand the front office side and the operations of that.
Yeah, DC mentioned, your Madden rating and stuff like that, and all the accolades that you've gotten, and your second team All Pro this past year. Do you feel like you're playing at your top shape? Do you feel like you're playing at your best, at the highest, or is there still something that, something else you can improve on?
Yeah, year to year. Like I said, I've been in three different schemes. I think my first year in Atlanta was probably one of my best career years. Where I was just playing. I was playing in a whole different scheme where I was roaming a lot in that defense.
Hmm.
I think I had like 6 interceptions or something like that.
Yep.
Missed the playoffs, which that's all that matters to me. I just want to win at this point. Um, but yeah, it's I think like you said, I understand this game and I've slowed it down. That it's just understanding what schemes. You got to have a good team. You got to have a good quarterback. Our quarterback got hurt this year. Had a great with Kurt. He ended the year great. But you got to have chemistry together as an offense, and we just didn't play well enough. And all that comes into factor of playing personal as well. So, I think, my better years, you never know. I could, my best years has come for sure. I know. Like I said, I understand what this game,
Hmm.
takes to week in and week out to show them, why I'm the best in the world for sure.
As a free safety, Jesse, what's more satisfying, a nice hard hit or a pick six?
Pick six. When you touch that
I
end
knew you was
zone,
gonna
yeah,
say
it's
that.
it's it's, it's different. Yeah, it's different when you touch that ball, and you score. It just changes the game. A big hit is definitely, um, right up there as well. When you get a big hit and somebody, you causing some type of energy for the team to feed off of for sure. But when you get in that end zone, it's different.
As someone that's
Yeah.
done it 3 straight seasons, the only one to do it,
Yeah.
I figured that would be your answer. But I know you like to hit hard too. That's why I asked. You be out there laying that wood on top of getting them pick sixes. But yeah, that's something that you know. Do you feel like and I'm trying to find a good comparison for you. Looking in the past, is there any safeties that you think that you kind of elevate your game after, kind of look up to in terms of all the pick sixes you get? Because I can't think of a safety that gets as many pick sixes as you.
You think of, I've been watching this game for a long time. As a little kid, watching like Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, as like a hard hitting safety, and then you got Troy, who's had multiple interceptions. You just always think about those type of guys, Charles Woodson, even Rod Woodson from Fort Wayne. You think about people changing the game, and that's interceptions, and yeah, that's what the game is about. As a safety, you want to be able to change the game and see it as a quarterback, be able to get people lined up. And sometimes you might not even get rewarded by just making the play, but just getting everybody lined up. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that goes a long way for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, at least part of our audience, will know the name Xavier Watts. And he joined you guys this year and had a fantastic rookie season. And obviously, I think he's probably made you guys the best safety duo probably in the NFL for sure. And obviously, as the audience knows, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I've gotten to see Xavier Watts play at a pretty high level, and I enjoy obviously him, joining you and having that connection to both you guys. And just what's the impact that he has made on your guys' defense and how you're able to be, I think, a very reliable part of that defense, and know that not too many people are going to get behind you.
Yeah, Xavier, he came in, he impressed me for sure. Just his natural feel for having the ball hawking ability to go take away the ball. Playing in the middle of the field. He's just elite at reading the quarterback, and his explosiveness coming out the middle of the field, going to track the ball, is something that I seen me do. And hearing him come in, asking who he compares game to. He said Jessie Bates, and it showed me why, because his anticipation and how he can read the quarterback, bait a quarterback into making bad decisions, and catching interceptions. I mean, that's how you become elite in this league. And he had 5. I think he had 5 interceptions. So just trying to challenge him. That's how you do it. You try to build your legacy up, and then you try to bring others with you. And Xavier is definitely one of those. That's like my little bro for sure.
So going into this, next season, you obviously you mentioned the disappointment of not making the playoffs, which I think you guys are only maybe a player or two away from being, a top playoff team. What are some things that you were working on personally to try to, help elevate your game, but also help the Falcons maybe even take that next step in the next level?
Yeah, it's early. I think we've been out of it for about 3 to 4 weeks now. Being able to sit back and enjoy the family for right now, and then go back and watch the tape throughout the season. And I feel like you just want to just always be consistent at your man-to-man coverage, tackling at a high level, being able to blitz on a running back, make plays in that way, and then just always keeping your feet and your eyes right. That's probably one of the things that you always want to talk about as a DB. But me personally, I probably would say blitzing, adding that to my game a little bit more. Continue to take the ball away, by the punch outs, the forced fumbles, and the interceptions. That stuff, that's what keep you around this league. And like I said, I'm gonna do it at a high level, and I know I can. And just got to continue to stack them, man. Like I said, it's going into year 9 now, so
That's
it's
crazy.
just, I know what it takes for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously there's been some turnover in the coaching staff, especially at the top. But obviously reading, some of the staff is coming back to Atlanta, and most specifically on the defensive side for you. With that coming back, and hopefully the offensive side, it improves, with the new head coach. But what is having the continuity across amongst the defensive staff? How does that help you guys going into next year?
Yeah, it's nice. Like I said, when you're in a scheme for 1 year, I mean, not even 1 year, for a couple months, and building that connection, with Jeff Obrick and his staff that he brought over from the Jets. I feel like, we were building something special there, and you see these teams in the Super Bowl, two really good defenses. That can change the game. And I feel like they both, complement their offense, who's really good as well. So it goes hand in hand, and I think that being able to sit in that scheme for another year, year two, it's the sky's the limit. I think we broke the sack record, franchise record last year as a defense, and you can only imagine what year two brings. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah,
to, you being, one of the top safeties, and not only in the NFL, but just in general. Um, Scouting against some of the opponents, who are some of the wide receivers that you have to take a little extra time to look at that scouting report, like I might have to spend a little extra time this week on trying to get that pick six or trying to get them off their game. Who are some receivers that make Jessie Bates take a little extra time in that video room?
Yeah, there's not a lot of times where I'm, locked on in like an X receiver at number one. But you can always, think of people who can, beat you intermediately, and then you can, beat you over the top. So you just got to be able to always watch film on everybody, because the NFL, I mean, week in and week out, you playing with the best, of the best, and but when you play a team that can run the ball, and then they can hit you with the play action game, and then throw it deep as well. Those are the teams that you got to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, you faced both teams that are going to be appearing in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. What can you tell us about those two teams? Specifically from your side of the ball, that we should be paying attention to, or could make a difference in the game coming up. What about those two teams, the Seahawks and the Patriots? Were difficult or challenging for you?
Yeah, I think both teams are more than well deserved. Great, great coaches leading them. Mike Gravel in his first year with the Patriots, like that's impressive. Being able to come in there and instill his culture, and he's been winning at a high level with the Titans. I remember when we beat them in Cincinnati, in their place. So I mean, he's been
Yep.
there multiple times, and so that's impressive with them. Drake Mays playing at a high level, being able to throw any ball at any place of the field, and being able to hurt people with his feet. That's what's changing the game for the Patriots, I think. And then their defense is playing at a high level. You got good edge rushers, and then you got the two corners out there, with the safeties that are playing at a high level as well. So and then you got Seattle, who Sam Darnold, everybody was
Mm,
sleep on him, and
sleep.
he done dragged his team to the Super Bowl with their offense. You got JSN, who just turned into a monster, this year, having a crazy year. And then Shaheed, they had him on they traded him from, the Saints, which, he can take the deep ball. So uh, that's impressive. And then, Mike McDonald, he got his defense over there flying around.
Yep.
So they got good corners, good pass rush, good run defense. So it's gonna come down. I think it's gonna be a good shootout for sure. I think there's two good defenses, but uh, it's gonna be a good game. I think the Seahawks gonna win. I think it's that
Ooh.
that that rematch, the Patriots versus the Seahawks. Tom Brady with Russell Wilson, with the beast mode, and give him the ball. So this time I got the Seahawks, man. So y'all
Get
got
that
y'all bets in
revenge.
and go with the Seahawks.
Ooh, there it
Yeah.
is. There it is. I was going Seahawks anyway because I'm a Broncos fan. So I
Yeah.
don't want the Patriots winning anyway. So I'm
Yeah,
going.
they got to rep
You
the
just
NFC, man. I'm an NFC guy now, so
Yeah,
Mhm,
you
yeah.
already know you do. But I know you're very busy, but something I believe, I guess, following you on social media, I may be wrong, but are you still tapped into like what's going on here in the 260 in terms of, athletes going on doing big things, or even, young people getting ready to play college football? Like I know I wanted to give him a shout out on today's show. Quay Guilford from Northrop
yeah.
just got named a 5-star recruit today from Rivals, and it's like, we got all kind of talent here. Is that something you still tapped into?
Yeah, for sure. I'm tapped
Who's
in
who's some
on.
people who's some people that's on your radar?
I'm tapped in. I'm always looking at Summit City Sports. Looking, at the. They always keep it. I feel like pretty updated on some of the football people. Whether it's Quay. My dog Tay Johnson. I was
Oh
watching
yeah,
film with him during the off season. So it's multiple guys that's coming out from the city, more than when I was in high school. We wasn't really, Fort Wayne wasn't getting looked at for real, you know what I'm
oh,
saying? Like we had plenty of talent, even, years before that as well. But the 260, I feel like is definitely on the map, for not just men's, but women's too. You got Maya Epps, who, you know what I'm saying, I
yeah.
was a family friend of mine, and she going to Louisville. I say she just dropped 42 the other night. Like
Whew.
that, that ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we just got to continue to, come together. Everybody, got this common goal. At the end of the day, everybody not gonna make it. But we all can feed into each other and help each other with each other's journey and experiences, and help each other where we're trying to go. And it's gonna help each other, become better players, but most importantly, better people in the end. So yeah, I'm
I
excited
wanted
for the
I wanted
260, bro. They've
Let's
been putting
go.
on. They've been
Let's
putting on.
go. I wanted to ask you this too because I have a son that's getting ready to enter his high school years playing for your former coach Titman.
Mm,
What are I know he might be watching this interview because he watches all my shows, but
yeah.
what's some advice for my son, man, as he's entering the Snyder Panther football world?
Yeah, man. Everything they preach, man, is about being, your best. They're gonna challenge you to, you know, to be your best. It's gonna be hard, It's not gonna be easy, but I promise you, if you lock in and trust the process, it'll definitely be worth it in the long run. I think they do a good job. I mean, it's just the structure, the infrastructure there is just really strong. Go to those summer gym days, like that's gonna build a lot of character in you, whether you a 5-star, whether you a 0-star, whether you working, with a trade or even going to college. You know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna
Mhm.
help you early to instill a mindset and that grit into who you gonna be at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's that time, man. We gotta wake, our people up in Fort Wayne and make them become men at 18, not when they 25 and they messed up a couple times, and you don't get second chances sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of but BS going on. I ain't gonna cuss or nothing, but
Oh, you
going
good?
going on in Fort
Wait,
Wayne, but that's what we got to talk about. And like I said, everybody not gonna make it into a professional sport, so you got to be able to transition as well as a person. So I'm excited, man. I got some great things in the works. I'm gonna have my first camp in Fort Wayne this year. So I'm excited for that, man. I'm slowly building it, man. And I wish, I'm a one day write a book about this whole life, but uh, it's a lot of game that we can give each other and feed off each other and collab. And I'm excited, man. This game has done a lot for me, and I can't wait to, give it back to not just my family, but now it's time to, reach out to, the community and uh, spread the love for sure.
Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. I can't wait for you to announce when you're having your camp, and we'd love to have you back on and
Oh, for
maybe be
sure.
out there even in person and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to you more about it
Yep.
because
Is it
it's
going to be this summer?
Yeah, this summer, sometime in July, I think. We're trying to
awesome.
finalize some dates. Snyder finishing that field over there, so
Yeah,
that's what I think I'm gonna have one out there, and I want to have one on the south side of town as well. Just trying to figure out,
Yeah,
location and all that good stuff. So
no, that's great. That's great
TBD,
to hear.
TBD.
TBD.
Yeah, yeah, we'll be waiting for it for
Yeah.
sure. But thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jesse. We definitely appreciate you giving us a recap of what happened down there in Atlanta, and hopefully things turned out for the better. It sounds like that they might, with new coaching staff. Hopefully, things improve, and obviously, hopefully, continued health for you as well. And we wish you the best of
Absolutely.
luck going forward.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all, man. God bless, bro.
That is Jessie Bates, current Atlanta Falcons safety, former Snyder Panther. And we'll get those dates for you guys when he decides to have his camp coming up. And sounds like one of them will be out at Snyder when they get the field finished out there. And hope to keep him in the loop, keep us in the loop, and you know excited for it because he's done a lot of great community work and is continuing to try and do that. And obviously, both the guests that we've had on today doing great community work, even after their college or during their professional career. So always great to see when guys who make it big always come back to the 260 and help out the rest of the community. So it's a great thing, and I'm glad both these guys are doing it. You muted. You muted, bub.
Great stuff today from both of them. Absolutely
Yeah.
great stuff. And then that's a big reason why we, try to bring these people on that are giving back, that are doing big things themselves. Jessie Bates, one of the best safeties in the NFL, came right from here. And Rapheal Davis, who's one of the best high school basketball players right here in 260 from Southside High School. And he comes back every weekend to do a basketball event with kids in his own free time. So shout out to both of them, man. We talked a lot of college hoops today. Got to talk a little NFL with Jesse. I wanted to ask him about the boxing match last night. I know he was watching too. Shakur Stevenson.
Hmm.
I told you before we started recording. I think I'm done watching boxing though.
Why do you say that? Because I'm not a big boxing, even wrestling or fighting. That's just not my thing.
I love my wrestling.
Well, I know
That ain't
you
going
love your.
nowhere.
No, I know you love your wrestling and you love your fighting sports, combat sports.
Yeah.
But why you out on boxing?
This is not the same, bro. It's just not. It's it's everyone is in the sport of to get hit and not get hit. You could thank Floyd Mayweather for that, but it's just really watered down now. Like that fight last night was between two of the top fighters in their weight class, and it was hardly any landed punches. It's hard to watch. It's not, and like you stay up. The part of what my issue with it is the main events for these boxing pay per views don't start until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting older. Okay, I got a billion kids. All right, which means a billion. Okay, when you have more than two, it's a billion at that point. Okay,
All right.
I got to get up early, even if I don't have to work. I got to get up early. I got stuff to do. Okay, and I'm staying up until 1 o'clock at least to watch this fight, just to watch these two hug each other for 12 rounds. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. At this point, just give me heavyweights.
All right.
Just give me the heavyweight fights. I'll watch heavyweights because they're in there to knock each other out.
Yeah.
But these, 130, 140 guys, I can't do it anymore. Sugar Ray, Tommy the Hitman Hearns back in the day, they were out there to end you. They were in that weight class, but they were out there to end you. Okay, they weren't trying to go the distance. They weren't trying to go those 12 rounds. Okay, they're trying to end you. These guys today just want to go the 12 rounds and make it. All of them. They just don't want to get knocked out, and they want to make it as long as possible because they get paid more the longer the fight goes.
Yeah.
And it's just not, for me, it's not enjoyable. That was my takeaway from last night, but I seen Jessie Bates was watching it last night too. So I wanted to ask him about it, but I know we took up a lot of his time today. So I have to get it off air. I have to get it off the record.
Yeah. You can do that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're going to have a big Super Bowl show next week.
Yeah.
We'll have big guests line up as we have done in the past on this show. Got a big live audience watching right now, our biggest so far that we've done. So keep that growing. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find us on Facebook, X, Instagram. The show live streams on there as well, specifically X. So make sure you do what the prompt says at the bottom and follow us everywhere at Brice and DC. We'll post clips if you missed any of the show. We'll post our interviews as well with Jessie Bates and Rapheal Davis shortly after the show is over, and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well if you just want to listen to the audio version. So thank you so much for tuning in to the show today, February 1st. That is the anniversary, DC, of the last time not the Falcons on the mind with Jesse, but the Seahawks and the Patriots. Super Bowl 11 years ago today.
That's 11 years ago.
Yeah, and that's when the Malcolm Butler play happened.
Wow.
11 years ago. Do we get something similar next Sunday?
No, it's gonna be a blowout.
Oh, wow! Don't say which way yet.
Okay, I won't.
We got tease people to tune in next week.
It's called that radio tease.
Yeah.
Tune in next week. You'll find out.
Yeah, but I think we all know who we're leaning here.
Do we?
Oh.
Do we?
Oh. All right. Well, make sure you tune in next week to find out. Make sure you tune in next week to get more thoughts on Indiana basketball. Yeah, I'll be staying up late this week because the game against USC tips off at 10 p.m.
If Purdue loses to Maryland today, I'm not on the show next week.
Don't say that. We need you. It can't just be me talking for 90 minutes. People are going to get bored of that.
If Purdue loses today, because that's going to be the first thing you want to talk about. You're going to be like, let's talk Purdue. And I'm going to be so upset because I'm not going to be calmed down yet. And you're probably going to wear some more IU merch. That's just going to make me even more mad.
I'll just wear it just to make you mad.
See, exactly. It works.
Even if IU loses their next two games.
Brice, for everyone watching, Brice is the king rage baiter. Okay? He's the king. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No. Absolutely.
Only when it comes to you. I know how to get you upset. That's
exactly
it. Yeah, but not to anybody else. Not just you.
I'm glad it's just me. That's cool.
Yeah. Just you, man. So
hopefully Purdue gets the victory today, and I'm a little bit happier next week. But today,
they should.
I was not very happy. Purdue lost to IU. IU wins again. Purdue struggling.
Yep.
Lose again. I didn't start off the show very happy today, but thanks to our guests, Rapheal Davis from the Big Ten Network and Jessie Bates from the Atlanta Falcons for making me feel just a little bit better.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Thanks to the Get In Indiana Podcast Network for having us on their network as well. Make sure you subscribe to their weekly newsletter. As soon as you go to getindiana.com, it's right there at the top. And make sure you subscribe to get all your news and features about the great state of Indiana. And until next week, we got, like I said, a big show coming up next week, talking Super Bowl, talk some more college basketball because we know IU and Purdue will play next week. And maybe we'll get some high school action as well because I believe the girls' tournament gets underway this week for the state tournament. So maybe if anything comes out of that, if we have any sectional champions to talk about next Sunday, we'll maybe try to get one of those on the show or at least mention them here on the show. Absolutely. As we do love to mention our high school sports, specifically here in Northeast Indiana as well. But until next Sunday, that's DC Hendricks. I'm Brice Vance. Thank you so much for tuning in here to this edition of the Sideline Sports Show.